Hi guys, and welcome back to another tutorial on our channel in the Immaculate Confection Studio. This one is based on the movie Ratatouille. So we've got some teeny little creatures made with tweezers and lots of lovely veggies, which of course you could adapt and use on all sorts of other cakes if you were making a salad or a gardening cake, something like that. So as always, loads of transferable skills for you. Don't forget to check out our website, immaculateconfections.co.uk, where you'll find lots of tools and equipment, our flour paste, our range of colours, and if you want to keep up to date with everything, there's a link in the description to join our newsletter, which means you'll get any news, special offers, etc. straight to your inbox. I hope you enjoy the tutorial. So I have made, so we've got aubergine and courgette and tomato, which of course is our ratatouille. I did some little carrots and I ran out of time to try it, but oh, whoops, don't squish it. We can have a go at this live. At a guess, I reckon that we can make some pretty nice leaves for the carrots with the tape. That's what I'm trying to say. I've made some pea pods just because I thought that would be a fun thing to do. I've also got some loose pea berries, of course. Wanted a little something flowery. So I've just done, they're similar to how we did the little hibiscuses for the Moana one, but they're vaguely loosely based on being a courgette flower, because I thought that would give us a food related flower to do. And then of course there had to be a teeny tiny, is he showing up all right there? I can't really see.
Yeah, you could do.
Yeah, put him with something paler, but yeah, little ratty. So that is what we have on our make this evening. So I've got a whole bunch of colours mixed up. They will be, like with the tomato and the aubergine and the courgette and stuff, I think that it's going to be it's the dusting that's going to make them, I think. So if we start off with, I'll tell you what, if I start off with the flour, then if I need an extra one later, oh, break the aubergine. If I need an extra one later on, I'm going to have a spare one. I'll do the flour on here and then I'll swap to my whiteboard so we can see. So I have just got some yellow. It's not special other than it's a sort of medium, sort of palish yellow. I'm just going to give this a really good knead. So I've got 24 gauge wire that I've just cut. It's about a third of a piece, and I'm just going to take a little ball and my candle for a change, and I'm just going to make my little ball into a pill shape, let's say, and then I can heat the wire up and I'm just going to stick it into the pill. So once heating it up till it goes, like, you want it red hot at the end, and hot enough so that when you stick it in you get this lovely puff of smoke, because if you get the puff of smoke then you've done it hot enough for it to melt the sugar, and then it's going to stay put. And I'm just going to give the end of that a little roll to point it off, and just give the end there a little pinch so that I've got a nice sort of almost like a bud shape really. And having looked at some pictures of courgette flowers, it's an approximation of what's inside. And then we're just, like for the Moana one, we're just going to do a very simple Mexican hat technique. And I'm going to use the Petunia Blossom Sugar Art mould, which looks like this. I realise you can't see it on the pink board. So I've got my bit of flour paste there, and I'm just going to press it really hard onto that middle hole so that you get this sticky up bit, hence I think Mexican hat, because it's sort of vaguely shaped like a sombrero. You can point that off a little, pop it back on the hard board, and then you want to take something small. So this is a cake pop stick, but you could totally do it with like you could do it with a pencil or the end of a paintbrush or whatever really, but just something that you can use as a tiny rolling pin to just thin out all around that stem in the middle. And then we'll pop that over there, and you just got to make sure that your sticky up bit is in the middle of the cutter. And then we will pop a little bit more corn flour on our mould, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to pop some on my fingers, pop that on there, and then press nice and firmly. And the thing is that the mould sticks up quite a lot. So as I'm pressing, I'm just making sure that I'm pressing that pointy bit onto it so that I'm sort of shaping the inside. And in other words, not just pulling the petals down over that pointy bit, because otherwise they'll just break. And you can see we've got that lovely shape and veining on the inside. I want to loosen the petals up from each other, so I'm just going to take my knife and just cut down in between them, as you can see. And then we'll pop it back on our petal pad. Take a fairly small ball tool. I'm just going to come around those edges, and you see I'm just stretching those petals up, making them a little bit longer. You can be quite rough, because I was looking and like courgette flowers are quite scraggy looking, for want of a better word. And then, so that's that, and you can see it's all stretched out. We will take a little glue. Here's the pot, here's the brush. I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue inside there, and then thread my centre through, put it up to the top, and then this bit underneath, just going to give it a little pinch and a twist to attach it. You can remove any of the excess, and then these petals, I just want to pull them and shape them so that they're right up like that. So you can see with this one here, they're sort of pulled right up. And like I said, it's not perfect, but it's I think for what we're doing and everything, it's a more than good enough approximation of a courgette flower. So a nice bright green, a sort of pea shade of green, if you will. So I've got some loose peas, and I've just done those on a 26 gauge green. And those, just a standard berry method. So I'm just going to take a little bit, make a wee ball. Ooh, heat that wire up, just like I did before for the middle of that flower. Pop it in, little puff of smoke. And I'm trying to not to stick it all the way through here. And then, just to make it look a little bit more like a pea, I'm just going to use my Dresden tool to just put a little dent in it. I mean, I could get some peas out of the freezer earlier, because I was sitting, I was like, what do peas actually look like? So that's a loose pea. And to do those little, I do need that still, pea pods, like so, we're going to make, yes, pea berry, indeed, pea berries. Well, it was inevitable. It was the obvious choice for this one, I think. So I think I'll make a little pod. I'll just do it with 5 little peas inside. Let me just make the 5 little balls. Oh, it's a bit warm. Would you open the window? I think it's the lights.
I think it is light.
Oh, poor long-suffering Christopher, eh? Okay, so here's my 5th one. So to do these, I'm going to take my first one, and I actually want to heat the wire up like an inch or so down the wire. So you can see I'm heating it in the middle. So that first berry, I'm going to push on all the way down there, and then above it, I should say pea, shouldn't I, not berry. Just pop a little bit glue on, and then thread on the other ones. 2 peas, put the little one at the top, 3 peas, what's that? 4 peas, and here is our 5th pea. And for the 5th one, I'm going to heat the wire up again and stick that last one on, because then that way this one is fixed, so it's going to kind of like keep them on.
Little pea kebab.
Like a pea kebab. then we can just chop that little bit of wire off at the top there. So those are now like nice and attached onto the wire. And then you could use a slightly different coloured green. I think pea pods are usually a little paler than the peas.
Yeah.
I think. Not entirely sure. But we'll just roll it out. We don't want it super thin. Take the cutting wheel. And then you just need to sort of do a sort of, what is it? Kind of like an eye shape, I suppose, around the peas like that. You can cut that bit at the bottom. Ooh, that kind of shape. And then we'll pop some glue on there. Put our little peas in the middle. And then you just want to fold it up around the peas. And just make sure that at that bottom bit you pinch it together. And in fact, I can give that, there we go, perfect. And you could give that a little twist if you wanted, just so that it thins itself away. And then at the top too. And then you got this little, oh, if I can hold it still, a little pea pod. The carrots are nice and easy, actually. So this colour of orange I've done with the orange, as you might guess, and then pop just a little brown in just to tone it down so that we've got a slightly earthier shade of orange instead of like super bright. And I'm just going to give that a good old knead like that, and then just roll on the one side to make, you guessed it, a carrot shape. I'm going to do this with the candle as well. And of course, as always, if you'd rather not do the whole candle thing, you can just use glue on your wires. You just need to give it a little bit longer to dry. So I'm going to heat the end up, and we're going to pop this into the carrot from the pointy end. Stick it in and just keep going till you reach the top, basically. So we can stick that in there, and I'm just going to keep pushing it on until it is more or less at the top. And I can feel it coming through there. And then the end of our carrot, we can just give a little twist so that we've got a nice end to it. There. And then for just a wee bit of detail, we can use our cutting wheel or a little knife or whatever you fancy, and just put some sort of horizontal lines in it here and there. And again, we'll sort of bring this to life a bit with the dusting. And the final thing I did actually, like I said, I think I'm going to do leaves made with tape. I'm just going to take my cone tool and just plop a hole in the top, just like that, so that we've got somewhere to put those leaves. So that's the little carrot. So what are these? The aubergine and the courgette are made in pretty much the same way. And the only difference you can see is that with the courgette one, I've just sort of squared off the edges a little bit, because courgettes are a bit angular, they're not perfectly round. And for this I've got that same pea green and a very pale green colour inside. For the aubergine it's sort of a pale ivory colour, so I think I just did just a tiny bit of yellow in some paste, and then some purple around the outside. So if I show you the courgette is sort of an upgraded version of the aubergine. So I have my pale green, which I will roll out, and you want to keep it quite thick, so it's a good 3 or 4 mil thick, I think, there. And you could even do it thicker. I mean, it depends how thick you want your slice of vegetable to be. And I've got my trusty circle cutter that I think we established with PME ones, possibly.
Yeah,
I think they've been in the drawer for a long time. So I've got my pale green inside. So to do the bit around the edge, I've not got a lot of green left, so I'll stretch it out. So I'm going to roll a sausage and then flatten it off. Ooh, be doing that. And then I just want to cut a really thin strip that is about as wide as how high our pale bit is. So that's the one side, and then I can cut this other side. So I'll take my pale circle, a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to paint that glue on round the edge. And then that wee strip, bit of fluff, that little strip you just pop on round the edge like that. And actually on this occasion I've cut my little strip, well I've cut the strip a bit deep and I think I've made the inner circle a bit thin, but that is okay. And then what I did, just to make sure that they were attached to each other, I squashed them. And I did it earlier with my phone, but that feels like it would be a weird thing to do. Just for the record, when I do things with, like, I'm going to do it with the back of the book now, I wouldn't do it if this was something that somebody was going to be eating.
For a customer.
Yeah, just for the record. So you just want to give it a nice firm press with something flat. And do you see, it just sort of joins those seams nicely and you get a good match between them. Make sure that it is stuck on, and I'm just going to pop a bit of corn flour on the back, because where we did the glue on that very edge, it inevitably ends up
Squishing out a bit.
yeah, a little bit. And then, so it's exactly the same process for the aubergine, but with cream and purple. And then for the courgette, you just need to square it off slightly. So all I did was took sort of the back of my knife. And can you see how I'm sort of holding the slice in a fixed position whilst kind of butting up against it with the knife, so that you get a sort of angular shape developing like that. And then if you wish, you can come round and just give it a gentle little pinch. You don't want it too angular, like you don't want to turn it into a full-on geometric shape. You can accentuate it a little bit if you want. Either is good. And for the courgette, that is about it. Aside from, and I don't know if you can be able to see this, but it will show up in the dusting, they seem to sort of be split kind of into three parts, and there's this sort of...
Yeah, I think they're going to be a bit hard to pick up.
It is.
Once you dust
Hopefully it will show once it's dusted, but there's a sort of Y shape three times. In fact, if I grab a bit of paper, I can draw it. You've got a bit of scrap paper over there, I can pinch. So the pattern that I just drew on was, so if this is the sort of the courgette there, it's kind of just very lightly with a Dresden tool, something like that, and then some little sticky in bits for the just, you know, I've just a little prod with the end of the Dresden for the kind of seedy bits. That's it. So that's what I just did on that. And then, like I said, for the aubergine, exactly the same thing. And then I've just done some sort of flex, because aubergines don't, they're more often than not, they don't have the seeds in them anymore, but you can still kind of see the texture on it where the seed is. We eat a lot of aubergine, actually.
We do.
Like aubergine. So that's our bit of courgette. For the tomato, we've got very pale yellow inside and a nice bright red for the outside. So pale creamy yellow. And I've actually used my smallest cutter here, which is this one, 2 centimetres. But again, it's about proportion rather than absolute sizes. So I've got a small one, pop that there, and roll out the red. And again, keeping it quite thick, which is something I'm not very good at doing, because it's always, the instinct is always for rolling things thin. I'll do the big cutter, so it's back to our 4 centimetre one. And then I'll cut the little one out of the middle, and we're going to join the two together. And we'll do that, just, you can either put a little glue on the inside of the red bit or a little glue on the outside of the white bit. the creamy bit, either way. It's all good. So squidge that together. I'm going to pop some corn flour on the back just so that it doesn't stick where the glue sticks out. And then I'm just going to take my rolling pin and just very, very lightly roll over the two together. And the reason for that, it's not so much to stick them together as it is to make them just a touch bigger so that I can pop my 4cm put my 4cm cutter back on and just sort of half press it so that it looks like we've got a skin around the outside. Okay, so I've got to say it, haven't I? So Diane says that aubergine and courgette is so much nicer than eggplant and zucchini. I grew up with melanzani and collocathia, which is them in Greek, because my parents didn't teach us to speak Greek, apart from these odd random words that I then had to learn again when I started school and whatever, because it was that. And the words included, so yeah, so aubergine and courgette. The word for toilet cistern was always in Greek. Lord knows why. Shopping trolley was a Greek word, wasn't it? And watermelon. There was just this random spattering. So yeah, the melanzani and collocathia. I don't mind zucchini. It does sound exotic. So yes, we've got our rind there, and then I will do this and I will draw it again. You can sort of, it kind of worked, but we'll do it with the dust. If you can kind of pull some of the red, sort of notch it into the white bit there, like that. And then there's this sort of line a bit around the edge. And again, I'm hoping that when we dust this, it'll all come to life a little bit more. And then around those notches, you just want kind of wedge shapes, so sort of like a slice of cake or pizza or something. I hope this works. I've actually got, so when we get to the dusting bit, I've got some pictures that I just found of a slice of whatever to do, because it's one of those things you think you know what it looks like, but actually you don't. And then we just want a little something to poke with, so a cocktail stick or whatever. And I'm just going to prod in the space. Not doing that. Oh, Dresden tool. Just poke in the space that we'll put some little yellow. Oh, sorry, hiccuping. Put some little yellow seeds in, but we'll do that at the end after we've dusted it. Otherwise, they're just going to end up red. But yeah, something along those lines. And I'll just draw it quickly because I don't know if that showed up. So if that's the red bit, that's the white bit. There's sort of a line marked around the edge there, and then you're just sort of sketching in, just with some light markings, these kind of wedge shapes, and then putting some little holes in for some seeds. And that is about it, but it's sort of like I literally just Google pictures and then you copy what you see. And we have another newbie, is a Debbie. Hi, hello Debbie. Christopher, say hello to Debbie.
I've already said hello.
No, I know you have. I'm being an ass. That's all right. So, would anybody like to hazard a guess as to how it is that I have attached these to wires? Because,
Candle?
No, I did it with a twiddle.
Oh.
Big fat twiddle. So the 24 gauge wire again, and when we tape it together, I may need to reinforce that wire a little bit because you can see it's a little on the wibbly side. It looks like a lollipop, for a crossing for the kids at school.
Oh right, yeah. Crossing.
No, a lollipop crossing. A lollipop ladies crossing, or a lollipop man's crossing. So yeah, we're just going to do a really big twiddle. So a twiddle, this is a lovely way to pop things together. Little glue on a wire, and you just want a little sausage. And you're going to pop the wire into the sausage. If you find you're sticking, go for a bit of corn flour or a little bit of Trex or Crisco or petal base, and just twist it on. And so you can see you get this nice sausage of flour paste on your wire. If you're not so good doing it with your fingers, you can put it on your petal pad and roll it that way as well. And basically it's just a way of wiring things that is a little bit less time consuming, a little bit easier than doing it with a grooved board. If you're doing it for flowers, you'd make it much finer than this on a much thinner wire, but because we're doing it for this, it's a 24 gauge wire, and I've made a nice chunky twiddle because it's got quite a lot of weight to hold. So pop a little bit of glue on there, press that on, and then I don't want to get a great big ridge on my tomato, so actually I turned it over and pressed it from the back. I'll do it on there, it's probably better. But when that's dried, it should stay. And seeing as we're here, I might do it on the courgette as well, and then that way, if I need spares at the end, we've got a couple of extra bits. Zucchini is the Italian, isn't it? I think.
I mean, it very much sounds like an Italian word.
The one. So where does the one that always used to trip me up, because I had no idea what anyone was talking about, was cilantro for coriander.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Don't know. I would say Spanish, but it's a big guess.
I see.
Would you like me to find out?
Yeah.
Is it C or an X? It's C, isn't
It's a C, yeah. I used to hate coriander, but I think that's the most delicious thing in the world. It's funny as your tastes change as you grow up. My three things that in the last couple of years I've decided are nice are coriander, red wine and mustard, which I never used to like. So again, I'm just going to turn it over and press it that way, just so that I don't damage the front of it.
Dinner time.
Right, little tiny rat. So this is Natalie's tweezer modelling again. This has become a thing. So they're just pointy nose tweezers, centimetre-ish, and we are going to make sure it's really, really well kneaded. And this would probably be easier with modelling paste than flour paste, but you know, flour paste. Oh yeah, nice one, Dawn. Over. Yes, I haven't watched that for ages. So funny. Right, we're gonna make it a little bit sausagey shaped or pill shaped, and then we want to point off the top. So can you see the sort of shape that is there? And then I think I used, what did I use? I think I used the edge of the spoon end of the Dresden to just sort of cut in there and there to make a sort of neck, so that we could then kind of bend the head down like that, which doesn't look like much right now, but it'll be okay. And then we're gonna, so just pull a little bit out for the tail. We can give it a gentle little twist there, so it's just there. And he's got a little tail. And then the bit that makes him look like a little rodent is about a good chunk of the way back from his nose. We just need to, yeah, you can see that, just pinch up 2 little ears, and I've taken quite a big bit so that we can make them a good size. And then 2 little eyes. And it's so small, I'll be honest, that I actually, how did I do this earlier? I think I just used my, cut my nails since I made this one. That's not going to work. Alright, I'm going to use the knife then to just put a little grin in there. And actually, this bit at the front has ended up a little bit of a strange shape, so let's prod that down. Actually, well, this is okay. So this is the well-fed rat, and then look, 2 little arms, 2 little feet, something like that. And there he is. You could have. I was trying to give him slightly longer tails, but actually it didn't twist out quite so well. And we're going to do the normal thing, or it's become normal. I don't know that it was normal. I don't know. Does repetition make something normal?
Quite a question.
So again, 24 gauge wire, which we're just going to heat up and then stick it up underneath him, basically. So just right up his bottom. Nice puff of smoke. And for anybody that reads Discworld, what we have here is your very finest, in fact edible, rat on a stick. There's a little extra amusement for the evening. So yeah, tiny little rat. And then the other one I did, so he's just, oh sorry, hand, there we are. Can you see that? They're so small. He's just sort of running along. So he's still got the little tail, his head's there, four little feet. Exactly the same thing, but I just didn't bend his head over, he's just sort of headed that way. So yeah, that's your little rat on a stick. Okay, I'm going to start with the peas because I think that's going to be the easiest one to do. Mouse Hunt. Now that rings a bell. What's that one? Mm-hmm. Film Mouse Hunt. Oh, there's a giant moth in here. And Stuart Little, that's nice as well. That's a mouse. Peas. Let's do the peas. Oh, I was going to make a piece of cheese. I forgot the piece of cheese. All right, we'll do without the piece of cheese. Right. So I've got a little of my leaf green, and I'm going to take a bit of dark green and just mix the two together. Just make a sort of like medium green, if you like. And with this, I think I'm just going to just dust it on the side of the pod there. And as usual, it's those nice sort of broad, repetitive brush strokes. Just to give that a little bit of colour there. Oh, the one where they end up tearing down the entire house, don't they?
Yeah.
That's it. Mouse Hunt. Although given what Mary's just written, maybe we should stop talking about it.
Yeah.
So there you go. So just a little bit darker on the edges of those ones there. Thanks.
Yeah.
Poor boy. With the loose peas, again, look, I'm just going to chuck a little bit of that darker green up the side, just so there's a wee bit of colour variation, makes it a little bit less boring. Oh, I'm not in shot. A little bit of lime, and I think I just want to dust that from the outside towards the centre. And I only want like the smidgenest of smidgens to actually hit the pale green on the inside there. It is, we like Garden's World. I love it. Now is it on, I listen to Radio 2 a lot. And is it Steve Wright in the afternoon that has the guy on the allotment in Wales?
Just be aware of him.
And they'll phone him in to talk about what's going on the allotment. That always makes me chuckle. Might go for a little bit of leaf green as well, you know. Just darken it up ever so slightly around that edge. That's it. And then inside, so where we did that funny sort of Y shape before, we do want a little bit of kind of, oh god, there's loads of yellow on that brush. A little bit of green on there. And maybe some yellow. I mean, the yellow's kind of optional, but yellow would do. So I want to take some of the pale yellow cream, and I'm just going to mix a little bit of this with a little bit of the lime green, just to make a very, very, very pale green that I can then just kind of dust a little bit on where that sort of Y shape is. And I mean, to be honest, I reckon this is probably about all we're going to get out of this, because courgettes aren't terribly...
There's not a great deal to
there's
it.
not a lot of detail, they're not very distinctive. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you've
once
got
they're
colour right
sliced.
there, if they do so.
Yeah, something like that, and hopefully you can see those little markings that we did on it before. It was just a little bit, but I think that's probably about it for the courgette, because there's not really much else. And to be fair, I'm going to have exactly the same problem with the aubergine. So just some purple around the outside just to make it a little bit brighter. Although aubergine isn't actually like that. Well, it is purple. It's aubergine coloured, isn't it?
It's a very dark purple.
So I might pick it up to do this just so that I don't get too much on the creamy bit. Although a little bit, so even though the purple doesn't actually sort of creep into the creamy fleshy bit in the middle, I think for the purposes of this, if it did a little, it wouldn't matter because it would just make it look more aubergine-y, even though that's not what an aubergine actually looks like. Artistic license and all that. There we are. Maybe just a wee bit around that top there. Am I in view? Because I'm travelling a lot because I've got so much in front of me. So we've done that, and then I just want to take a little bit of brown, I think. A little brown. This brush looks like it's had brown on it recently. Some of the cream, a touch of brown, a little bit more cream because that's quite a lot of brown, just to make a very, very pale brown colour that I can then just bring. I think I'm just going to like sort of dab it, and it's just in the middle, kind of phasing out a little bit. Because like I said, more often than not, it's with aubergines. They have the let's blend that in a bit. Right, so I would never do this with my finger on a flower, but this is not a flower. Yeah, they sort of still have the markings of where the seeds would be, but not actually the seeds often these days. So that will do for the aubergine, and then that leaves us the tomatoes, which should be quite fun to do. I adore tomatoes. If somebody said to me, you can only ever eat one thing for the entire rest of your life, I would choose tomatoes, because I think they are the most delicious thing in the world ever. Oh, I love them. In fact, we have tomatoes in the fridge. I might have some tomatoes later on. Tomatoes are one of those things that they are not quite the colour that you think they are. I have, as it happens, made tomatoes before. So I'm just going to take, so this is our bright red, so it's a non-edible one, so you're good for flowers. You wouldn't want to put it, like if you were doing the Peter Rabbit cake and kids were going to eat, you wouldn't want to use it for that. But we're good for this, I think. And I'm just going to start off, I can come around all the edges, make that a bit redder.
Ooh, tomato bread.
What's tomato bread?
Diane says she had just had tomato bread for lunch.
What is tomato bread?
I imagine it's like bread with tomatoes in it.
Oh.
Maybe dried ones.
Oh. I'm yet to find a kind of tomato that I don't like. I love those little, the sun blush cherry tomatoes that you get in the supermarket. So they're not quite dried, but they're not...
Yeah, they're not fresh.
Yeah, they're nice. So look, can you see that I'm just sort of bringing the red onto the onto that white bit there. And I'm going to take some of the ruby and use that to just make the edge a little bit darker. So tomato chips as in like tomato flavoured crisps?
Yeah. We don't really have, but we do have
Oh
tomato.
wow. That sounds delicious, Diane.
That's tomato bread, where else? A garlic. That does sound very nice.
It's like Joe's open Swedish sandwiches things.
Yeah.
See, like, I'm going to get hungry now. So we'll finish this line and then we're going to eat all the things, right?
Yeah, I was going to have rice, kimchi and soy sauce, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we do occasionally feed ourselves properly. And then we need a little yellowiness. It's just a little bit. You don't want it too bright, but just a hint of yellow on there. And I don't know if it will show properly, but I've also popped, like, there's a bit of the yellow on top of the red as well, so you get this sort of blended orangey colour. And then I've got some yellow left over in here that I'm just going to do some teeny tiny little Smaller even than that. Some little pips with. Oh, I always struggle
Tiny little pips.
when doing things this small. I know, but it's only it's a fairly small slice of tomato. If I just sort of plop them on it, I can use my Dresden tool to shuffle them into place. I think. Yeah, you guys are definitely making me want to go and eat all the things. That'll do. So yeah, I think we've got a reasonable approximation of our
The veggies.
yeah, it's okay.
Cool.
Carrots, carrots, carrots. So a little orange, and I've already got the brown out. All this talk of tomatoes. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the bright orange, and I think just give it a little, it helps if there's actually some on the brush, eh? Just a little swoosh, and if I do it side to side, it means that you're going to get the colour sort of going on in the right direction for the detail on the carrot. We could maybe have just a little brown here and there for a bit of extra detail, but I think that will do. I mean, I did carrots because it felt like an easy shape to make, really.
Yeah.
Courgette flowers. So these, they are quite yellow and then a little bit orange, basically, from what I could see on the squinternet. So I will start off just with some bright yellow. Just all over, and I'm going to pop some on the inside as well. So just getting a little brush in there and just bringing it up the petals, and I'm being quite gentle because none of this has had that long to dry because I have the time management and organisational skills of, in fact, a carrot.
Yeah, one of those days.
I know. We've done it. We've pulled it off a few times that we've been
What?
properly prepped. They're a bit sort of orangey all over, aren't they? Or at the top,
Orangey
is
at
it?
the top,
Orangey at the
yellowy,
top.
greeny, sort of more green
Right,
on the
grand.
on
Couldn't quite remember. And I think the centre of them is largely just yellow, sort of yellowy whitey colour. So maybe if I put a little yellow dust on the centre there.
Yeah, no, there's a better picture of actual. So,
Oh, grand. So yeah, a little bit. So just a touch of orange on the tip of the petals. I mean, again, artistic license. It is a vague approximation of a courgette flower or squash flower.
squash blossom. I think that's a nice word. Very nice phrase.
Squash blossom.
Squash blossom.
Okay. And then the final thing we'll do with these is just take a bit of, I think let's go for a little lime and then a little leaf. And we're just going to bring that from the bottom up. Am I in view?
Sorry, I can't see.
Yeah, no, I know. I think so.
Yeah.
That's it. So bottom up with a little bit of the lime, and then we'll follow that with a touch of the leaf. And I think, for the purposes of this, in fact, let's put a little green in there. There we are. That's enough of an approximation of a courgette flower for what we're doing this evening. Yes. Well, that was what I was going for with this. Right, I'm just going to try and make some sort of carrot doobies. So I've got 3 bits of tape. I'm going to put a wire across the middle of it, pinch the wire, and then twist it together, I think. Like that, because then that's going to help these things stand up. And then I'm hoping if I just come and sort of...
Trim them up a bit.
Yeah. we can make them a little more leafish, I think. And we do, someone's just said we have Guy Fawkes night instead. I think that the what's the word? The theme, the idea behind is a little different between Guy Fawkes night and Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, a little bit. I suppose it's thanks that they didn't succeed in such a thing.
What, well, yeah,
Blown
that's
up
it.
Parliament.
Oh, I'm all politicked out after yesterday.
Yeah, let's not.
Let's
talk
not.
politics.
So I think let's give some of these bits a little pinch. I think, do you know what? I reckon this is going to do. And then I might, let me grab some of that darker green and see if I can just give it just a little flick of colour at the bottom. And then what I'm hoping is that, having twisted that up like that, if I trim this short-ish, and because my carrots are still a little bit soft, if I might do it with my tweezers actually, where have they gone? Tweezers, there we are. If I now just push that into the end, I think that'll do it. What do you reckon? Kind of.
Yeah, it looks like very much looks like a carrot actually.
Pretty carroty thing. So I'm going to put the aubergine at the back because I think the aubergine is the most boring one. I think, and then we'll have the courgette. No, we didn't have the glass bottles. We had I was going to say, by the time we were at school, they'd invented those Tetra packs.
Natalie, so rude.
Oh, hi Leanne. There we go. She turned up just for me to be rude. Now I reckon. Okay, do you think that looks okay like that, or should I move? No, it's okay. I didn't know if it needed moving down a little bit.
Oh.
And then our tomato needs to go a little bit the other way. And I think that this is just going to sort of form the core bit of the display. A bit like where we had the we've had the waves in when we've done the what was that one? The Nemo. We did the sort of waves thing and stuff. Where you'd normally arrange the foliage in the background with the leaves. So that is that, and I think we can do. Yeah, sorry. No, I know. I'm taking the mic. Totally taking the mic. I know. I'm actually, these are wibbling about a little bit, so I think I'm gonna just bring the tape all the way down just to make sure that these three bits are solid. The other bits and pieces. See, I don't like tapioca either. It's the texture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
I've got to figure out now. Do you know what I might do? Is give this whole bit a little bend to the one side so that we've actually got some space to fit in the carrots, which can maybe come. Right, let's attach the one carrot and then we'll move on to the next carrot, because otherwise I think we might be asking a bit too much all at once. So we want a second carrot. Oh, maybe this one goes a little bit behind. Do you know what? So these are all moving about a little bit more than I would like them to. So I probably should have used a thicker wire, like a 22 gauge or something. But it is done now. So that's perfect, thank you. So be it. Right, carrot a little behind. Let's have a pea pod. About here, I think, for the first one. Oh, that will work, won't it? Alright, so if I put this pea on down here, that means it will sort of bring the whole design down. The flowers can go there. Let me get that pea attached, and then we can, because I've got the loose peas, so I could maybe, I don't know. I think this is the other thing with any, like, putting arrangements together. It's always tempting, because you've made the thing. one's always tempted to like make sure you use all the bits, but actually you don't have to.
No.
Always tempting. Now I mustn't forget about the little fat rats. And I think I'll put this carrot on the other way around too now. Right.
Yeah, Angela's just said this would be good for the harvest festivals.
It would. It totally would. Oh yeah, like that works if he's kind of peeking out there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that taped on. What else have I got? Oh, okay, so this little rat needs somewhere to go. So maybe off to the side there. And if he's going to sit kind of here with the peas, then I need to bend his body a little bit this way so that that stem can come down and bend a little higher up. That's it. So now if I pop him in like that so that the wire is sitting behind, but he should, oh hang on, no, too far. See, they're just a little delicate because their little arms and legs have only been made with
Tweezers.
with the tweezers. They're a bit on the fragile side. Right, let's just get this on. I'm just going to bring that all the way down again, just to make sure that everything is attached. And then what we could do, actually, is just use a loose couple of peas, just to sit there and hide the wire that our little rat is on a bit. And again, it's not an essential thing, it's just, it would annoy me later on when I'm looking at it, or if I take some photos of it, that you can see it. Now, what have we got? We've got a nice big pea pod that could maybe, I don't know. See, this is where it's like, you don't want to overdo it. And equally, there is another carrot. Although, that being said, I think that other carrot will look quite nice. About there. And then we'll put our courgette flowers on the side there, and I think that that might be about it, you know. This is alright. I was worried it wouldn't be green enough, but actually, once adding in the leaves on the carrots, I think is what did it. Right, so here is a one courgette flower. Oh, don't break it. And there is our other courgette flower. And then I think maybe that can come out just a little bit there. Actually, I think the peas, you know, maybe it should be these taped into a little, maybe, alright, this will only take a second. Maybe what I need to do is tape them into like a berry branch, a pea berry branch.
Cool.
So as always, attach the tape to the first one. Pop a berry, whatever it is, at an angle.
It's just instant now, wasn't it? Just to say berry.
There's that, and so do you guys, so I think she might still have them, when you used to do the, like people would have the craft fairs or things like that at school, and people would make wreathy things out of salt dough.
Yeah, I think I know.
They were always kind of corn dolly-ish. Do you know what? I think I'm going to make an executive decision here and go for the branch of peas instead of the pod of peas. I quite like having just that little bit of break in the solidness of it just over there. So let's get the tape round. Alright, let's scoop all the mess. There we go. Oh, look. And the spare peas.
Some spare peas.
Add some spare peas. So I hope you enjoyed that, making those cute little rats there and all those lovely veggies. Do find us on Facebook, come over and join the group, Natalie's Cake Studio. You're going to find all the links for everything in the description there. Give us a like and subscribe, and we will see you again next time.